OLED, definitely a buzzword in the industry right now. Every TV company seems to be delving into some sort of OLED TV production. But why is that? What makes OLED better than its predecessors? Let's find out. OLED TV panels supply an impressive amount of color detail not found in most panels, which is what makes the technology so appealing. These panels can depict true blacks and incredible vibrance in colors like we've never seen before. I've been in the market for a new TV lately, so I've been doing my fair share of research, and what I've found is a whole ocean of abbreviations and technology that I never even knew existed. The biggest one out of the bunch I've seen is OLED, so I decided I would delve a little further into what an OLED is and why it's awesome. The abbreviation OLED actually stands for Organic Light Emitting Diode. It's a pretty fancy way of saying that OLED screens create their own light, whereas previous LCD and LED screens are lit with a backlight. This is a really big deal when it actually comes to making an image on your monitor or your TV, because what it means is that you can have a black pixel and a white pixel side by side, and the white pixel's brightness won't bleed into the black, making it a muddy, electronic-y gray. Previously, to make that white pixel, a backlight behind the display would be shining through to make the one pixel white, and because there was a bright light shining right next to the black pixel, there would be a bit of blooming, which is where the brightness would bleed over to the black pixel, giving it that muddy grayish black. The difference between this grayish black and actual black doesn't sound like a lot until you really see it in action. Recently, I watched the new Star Wars show, The Book of Boba Fett, and there's a lot of scenes in that show that are action scenes at night, with a lot of navy blues, browns, blacks, grays, all these different dark colors. And on my TV, which is an LCD TV with a big backlight, it makes it really hard to differentiate some of the dark scenes with the other dark scenes, because all the different shades of black and grays all kind of bleed together, making it a big muddy blob. On a non-OLED panel, a lot of these blacks would all sort of blend together because of the blooming, which would make the scene sort of hazy and hard to see. When on an OLED, all of these colors and blacks are sharp and distinct, creating an extremely detailed and immersive picture no matter how dark the environment. Now, I know I said that on any non-OLED panel, you would have this bleeding and this blooming, but that wasn't entirely true. There's one other piece of consumer-ready display tech that is essentially kinda doing the same thing. While not as perfect, it is the mini LED. You see, a lot of companies are starting to delve into cheaper alternatives to OLED, which is the mini LED. In fact, all of Apple's new Pro-end displays, including the new iPhone 13 Pro series, are all mini LED displays. Now, instead of having a singular pixel create the light like OLEDs do, a mini LED panel works exactly like an LED panel does with the backlight. The difference here is that the LEDs are mini and the backlights are all tiny, which means that there are many more backlights that can be tuned and dimmed in order to negate potential blooming that could happen. Backlights that can dim are called dimming zones, and the more dimming zones you have, the more backlights can be tuned to make sure certain areas can be true blacks. Mini LED TVs are really hitting their stride this year, as it seems everyone is starting to figure out the tech behind making LEDs small enough to reach OLED levels of color and black accuracy. All of this makes mini LED a very, very attractive alternative to OLED that I myself and many others are thinking about. So all that being said, it really comes down to whether the upgrade is worth it to you or not. For me, it's 100% yes. Recently, I got the MacBook Pro, the new one, in order to help with this channel and other creative projects that I'm working on, which has a mini LED, as well as the fact that I've gotten a Switch OLED to play the new Pokemon games, so I have an OLED and a mini LED that are both tiny screens. And those small screens have already been way more immersive and impressive than my big screens and my TV and my monitors and these types of things. So for me, it's 100% a yes. If you value the experience you have with the displays, whether it's games, movies, shows, even work, I would highly recommend making the move and doing it. If that vibrance and immersion is exciting to you, definitely take a look at them. Like I said before, mini LEDs are a lot cheaper than OLEDs, but OLEDs are lit by the singular pixel, so there's 100% no blooming. There's 100% 0% chance of blooming, while mini LEDs can still do it, but don't generally do it. I would recommend going down to a local big box store or Best Buy and taking a look at mini LED TVs as well as the OLED TVs in the back, and go ahead and make up your own mind after checking them out. I highly recommend doing that. They're pretty awesome displays. Anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. A like and a sub would be super appreciated, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.